Coffee and Pan Dulce. How's that? Coffee and Pan Dulce.
Hey, I'm Christian Cano. You're the co-host. My buttons are Moms Demand Action, Guns Against Legislation, Healthcare for All, Medicare for All, and also in my heart, Black Lives Matter on behalf of Joe Oldham, who's a guest of ours who passed away last year. That's it.
Hello, this is Jenny James Gunn. I am a community advocate here in Charlotte, North Carolina for LGBT women's rights with the National Organization for Women, gun sense laws with Moms Demand Action, and anything that extends equity to all. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It is April 23rd, and this is the Coffee Pan Dulce Show. We're almost but we do have a bonus episode next week. Sunday. Come on down to the Civic Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. We have guns that look like knives and knives that look like guns. This is a free 5th episode that's coming up next week. Tune in and see the chicanery and funkery at a trailer park near you.
That's right.
Yeah, I love doing the 5th Wednesday promo, and I'll do it again next week in full voice. But anyway, this is Coffee Pan Dulce. It is April 23rd, the 4th Wednesday of the month, and we do have a special guest, but we won't disclose it. And he probably has a possibility of joining us in progress. Last week's show, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it too before you watch this one. It was an amazing episode. I won't tell any more because I don't want to do a spoiler alert. If you did watch it, like us on Facebook. Reach out to us. Give us some support. Give us some love. Even if you got some hate, go ahead and join the other MAGAs that don't like us either. But either way, it helps us. It helps the show. And if you like this type of programming, one of the ways to keep us alive is to watch us, listen to us, and support us on social media. Take it away, Chris.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. As Jenny said, exactly. Welcome, everyone, to Coffee and Pan Dulce. I'm Christian Cano with my co-host, Jenny Gunn. And we want to thank those who watch us on Facebook and YouTube, but the thousands who listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. As Jenny said, last week we had a great show. It's a wonderful guest from Western North Carolina, and you know who they are. As Jenny said, if you didn't watch that show, go back and watch it. It was a good show. It was funny. And today we have a special guest, but today's topic is going to be, do Dems and MAGA need moderates to win elections? So we'll talk about that. Jen and I have these conversations all the time, both on camera and off camera. And hopefully, if our special guest is able to join us, we'll talk a little bit about messaging as well, some of the issues that people are running on and so forth around the country. But before we do that, let's jump directly into Barb's current events.
And this is Barb's current events.
Okay, Jen, 3 Barb's current events. Trump wants to fine undocumented people $999 a day. That's what he's proposing. And so that way he can put liens against the houses they own, cars and stuff, and bankrupt them and put the money into the treasurer. So that's the reason they want to go into the IRS's database. But anyway, that's his theories, to find them $999 a day. Want to hear what you want to think about that. The next one is there is the Doge dudes temporarily crashed the Social Security website. People were not able to access it for, I think, 10 minutes because they were playing with some programs or whatever they were doing and crashed the website. So seniors weren't able to go on there and talk about that. And the last one, I believe, is, well, let's just go with two for now because I can't remember the last one. So, Jen, any thoughts about those two?
Yeah, because, undocumented workers are rolling in the dough, and they all have these big mansions and put liens on these really expensive houses of undocumented workers. What the fuck is it? First of all, if you're undocumented, that means you can't afford a lawyer to make yourself documented. You probably walked here, swam across, got here, on the bottom of a boat. Well, however you got here, if you're undocumented, you can't. That means you probably couldn't afford to go through the civil process to become a resident or a citizen. That's number one. Most people that are undocumented are very, very hyper poor people. Buying them $999 is like literally trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip. It's the stupidest.
Exactly.
And it's all performative. Why don't you just find, I don't know, Tyson Poultry, for example, that's a billionaire that's hiring undocumented deals and find their vendors, these farms that hire these people.
Yep.
Go after the millionaires and the billionaires. But I bet they won't. Because these same people are the ones that contributed to their campaigns. And therein lies the issue. It's a civil thing anyway. So why not punish the companies that benefit from the cheap labor, the undocumented labor? Yeah. That's what you need to do. The Doge thing, these guys are relentlessly stupid. And, first of all, what they're doing is illegal and wrong. But second of all, to be playing around with people's money, these aren't even entitlements. Social Security is a promissory note. Mm-hmm. And it has been a federal program that has been around for a long, long time. And to mess with people's disability payments and basically a pension, a state-sponsored pension, is criminal. It's literally, they should throw them under the prison. Just send them back to South Africa or wherever they came from, along with their little sissy SpaceX, because it's to let these. This is why we vet people like cabinet members. This is why there's a vetting process and checks and balances. This is what Congress is failing. Congress should be investigating this, freezing the funding for the Doge screwballs, fucking subpoenaing Elon Musk, arresting him if he doesn't comply. Is that they have the power to investigate this, but oversight comes with responsibility, and there needs to be responsibility. They need to be held accountable for this. And the Republican-controlled Congress is responsible for not having oversight over this. This is a illegal, undocumented operation of grifters and scumbags that are crashing the Social Security site, locking people out of their money, and running these campaigns of terror. And that's what it's designed to do, is to scare the shit out of people. They get so used to being terrified, they stop paying attention. And it's the wrong thing to do, because people on Social Security are poor people.
Yeah.
They're poor people, because if you're still, like, if you make $200,000 at 75 years old, you're not having to worry about your Social Security check if you could even get it. And you're not worrying about the $2,000 or less that you're getting a month from them if you're making $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000 a month in investment and income properties and all that. If you're a moderate to upper class person that had a good pension, like my dad, like my stepmom, that have a nice, comfortable retirement money, they don't have to worry about their Social Security like somebody that basically
that's just extra money. That's play money for them.
It's walking around money. It's mailbox.
Exactly.
When my dad has two different retirement funds, and my stepmom has one, they got 3 incomes in retirement plus Social Security. Not that they don't deserve it, they just don't need to depend on it.
Sure.
And there's millions upon millions of Americans that live on disability Social Security or regular Social Security. That money is their only lifeline between that and abject poverty. And that money was set aside for them in a trust fund. It shouldn't be messed with. It shouldn't be touched. It is immoral. It's completely wrong on any level. There's no metric. And the Social Security money is in a fund that should never be touched for any reason.
Sure.
Congress keeps dipping in and borrowing against that fund and not paying it back, too. There's so many immoral things done with this. This is people's money that's been invested into this fund for decades. It's a sovereign fund. And it bothers me when hardworking Americans have put this money in for almost 100 years. And they mess with it in any way, shape, or form. They need public flogging to be a thing again. And anybody that messes with that should be publicly flogged. I mean, I completely agree with you, Jenny. And the Trump fine thing, I agree with you. It's another gimmick that they do. They throw these gimmicks out. And his base is like, let's fine him. But this can actually not just hurt undocumented people. It can actually, a lot of undocumented people are married to married to American citizens. And if you put a lien on an undocumented house, a house or car or whatever the case may be, or whatever, you're also putting a lien on the American person's house or car. So the goal is not just to punish the undocumented person, it's to hurt their whole family. And that's just, it's just a dick move, I don't know what they think is going to happen, that they think the purpose of this, other than to say they're going to stick it to them. But anyway, but don't you think they're doing it just to be mean? At some point,
everything they do.
I think we have to use the language. They're just being dicks. They're
exactly
of dicks, and they're saying we lost in 2020, and now that we've won in 2024, we're going to go out and punish everybody that we thought did not support 2020 because we were entitled to those votes. And so it's a reign of terror is what it is. They're fucking terrorists. That's what we need to call them. They're fucking terrorists, and they're just like Bolton said, they're fucking idiots. And they're running around Washington, D.C., setting fires, causing problems for people, and they're going to really hurt this country. People better strap in. It's going to be a bumpy ride now in 2026.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Hey, listen, we're up against our first break, and we'll be right back. When we come back, let's talk about whether, interesting to hear what your opinion is, Jen. Do Democrats and MAGAs need moderates to win 2026 and further elections? So we'll be right back on Coffee and Pan Dulce right after this.
Hey, y'all, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and your favorite audio podcast platforms. You can catch your special editions of Coffee and Pan Dulce, as always. And we appreciate y'all listening. And we're going to do more episodes. We're going to do some zany things in 2025. And most of all, we're going to have lots of fun, as always. Thanks for listening. And look for the new shows. Appreciate it. Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching. And support local Black and brown businesses, including our sponsor, Manolo Bakery. That has some fabulous pastries, food, king cakes, all kinds of specialty cakes, tamales, and much, much more. Some of the best food you eat in Charlotte, North Carolina. Again, Manolo's Bakery, right here in East Charlotte. Thanks for watching.
Hey everybody, hope you're enjoying the Coffee and Pan Dulce Show. This is me, Yorense, a new host here at the Cannis Media Shows. I will be doing the new show, Espera Que, here at every Thursdays at 7 p.m. on your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you like to listen to. So, hope to see you on my show, and hope you have a wonderful day.
So we have a great fall lineup, and we encourage you to tune in to many of our fabulous shows, like our Dice Say show, and many more things in October and November as well. Thanks for watching, as always, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for watching our Coffee and Pan Dulce show every week. Don't forget you can watch us visually on our video podcast platforms on Facebook and YouTube, but you can also listen to us on your favorite audio podcast platforms like Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all of the other ones that your favorite, whatever your favorite is. Once again, thank you for watching us on Coffee Pan Dulce. We'll dance out.
Hey y'all, thanks for watching our spring shows and sticking with us. And we've got a fabulous summer lineup. I hope y'all are excited as I am. And let's enjoy our summers. Hot Girl Summer 2024. See y'all.
Bye y'all.
Bye y'all. Hey y'all, thanks for watching the Florida shows. They've been wildly successful. Obviously, it's a topic that you guys have enjoyed and wanted to know more of. And we like talking about the dumpster fire. It used to be the state of Florida, and we'll probably talk about it some more this summer. Thanks for watching, y'all.
Bye, y'all. Thanks for watching. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So listen, there's a lot of talk around the country about what needs to happen, not only with the Democratic Party, but the MAGA Party. I mean, they're kind of destroying themselves, which is wonderful to see. Still, I use the term delicious. It's a delicious thing to watch. But Jenny had said this many times in several elections that the people, I think, if I'm paraphrasing what you said, that the people that are going to bring down the MAGA movement are not Democrats, but it's going to be Republicans within, are going to bring them down. So Democrats tend to need progressives to win elections because they're the ones that get the excitement out. They're the ones that they're the ones that are volunteering for the campaigns, especially the younger ones and so forth. But it seems like all the messaging seems to be more towards moderates. Do we focus too much on moderates, or are they? I don't know what you have to. If you have any opinions on that.
Well, I think moderates are being defined by the people that are more the independent voter. I think registered Democrats primarily going to vote for Democrats. I think registered Republicans are typically going to vote for Republicans, and there's about 30% to 35% of independents, depending on the state, depending on that lean left, they lean right, and I don't think the messaging needs to necessarily be centrist. I think it just needs to make sense.
Sure.
And I think you look at the last 5 or 6 Democrats that have run from Clinton all the way to Harris.
Yeah,
the ones that were most successful were the ones that had very aggressive but very succinct messaging. We knew what Clinton ran on, Bill Clinton. We knew what Obama ran on. We knew what Biden ran on. The very straightforward deals. Eventually, with Hillary and with Harris, their messages weren't as clear. They weren't as well-handed. I honestly didn't know good on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Campaign didn't really make sense. It was more like voting instead of the old orange windbag. And that's not really a candidacy. Bill Clinton ran that way against Papa Bush in 92. He would have gotten slaughtered.
Yeah.
You're going to get beat if you don't have your own identity. And Harris didn't have her own identity.
So if I understand what you're saying, it makes logical sense because I never really thought about it from that perspective. It's not necessarily whether they're moderate or progressive. It's the need to be more aggressive, the need to be more clear. Yeah, and I agree with you. And the reason I think this is kind of important, and I was hoping that our guests could join us today, is because, and I know you and I have talked about this, but the top issues for what was a top issue. The Gallup poll did a top issues, and the top issues of the top 22 issues from the economy, and I think I read this once, so the economy, democracy, on a scale of rankings, the economy, number 1, democracy, terrorism, types of Supreme Court, immigration, education, healthcare, gun policy, abortion, taxes, crime distribution, foreign policies, energy policies, race relations to China, trade with other nations, climate change. The very last topic that was important to voters was transgender rights. Very last topic. However, if you turned on Fox News or the MAGA Donald Trump talking points, that you would think that is like not only a top 5 issue, but a number 1 issue. And you and I know that there has been some conversation within some certain Democrats, especially moderate Democrats, that are saying that we need to address this issue. But it's not a top 22 issue. It's the very last issue. So I'm curious, and I know if you, our viewers and listeners, if you have not watched the John Oliver's show that I think it's what's happening next week. I can't remember the name of the title of it. It's on HBO or Max. And he did a main topic segment about transgender, trends in sports, transgender in sports. And it was very educational. It was very detailed and talked about kind of the misnomers and the myth that there are 900 medals that have been taken away from women. And when he broke it down, it turns out that it was a self-reporting website. And some people were done twice. So it's probably, if you look at maybe 30 medals, total. Even though 30 medals, is, but they blow these things up. So, Jenny, how would you talk about if you were advising a candidate? Let's say me. I decided to run for Congress in 2026, which is going to be a very important year for all of us. And I said, Jenny, some people have been asking about this issue. How should I reply to this issue? What would you advise me to talk about this issue?
Well, if we're going to pick the transgender issue, because it's a much ado about nothing.
Okay.
That MAGAs are blowing it out of proportion to distract from their own shortcomings, so to speak. And I'm not just talking about Trump's penis. We've seen his little Billy Barty hands. But little sausages. But anyway, they've blown this out of proportion because they suck on the other 21 issues. Most of the issues, they don't align with most Americans. 70% of all Americans agree with Democrats, and especially Gen Z and millennials. Gen Z and millennials want to know, how are you going to get student loan crisis under control? How are you going to make housing more affordable? How are we going to afford the American dream? And how are we ever going to be able to retire? And how are we going to afford health care? These are things that are affecting real Americans. And it goes back to them. This is something that's not new. And Bill Clinton focused on it in 1992, and he was, a governor of a small state like Arkansas. And coming up, he was kind of a political flyweight. And he went from obscurity to national and worldwide spotlight based on a very simple message. It's the economy, stupid, and I feel your pain. And those two things went on rinse and repeat for a year. And he killed it with that message because he made the Republicans look out of touch.
Yeah.
And we need to make them out of touch again. We need to make them look exactly what they are. We don't have to change how people feel about them. We just need to make sure they understand what they are. And say, like your favorite saying, which is, when they tell you who they are, believe them.
Mm-hmm. Believe them, yeah.
But we as Democrats have to say, when they say who they are, all we should do is play their sound bites.
Exactly.
Unedited, on a loop, saying exactly what they're going to do. And we did not do that in 2024 on any scale. The second thing is, people want to know what you're going to be, because in marketing and in the business world, for example, which I have an expertise in marketing, simple messaging. What's McDonald's slogan? I'm loving it. Coca-Cola's slogan for a long time, Coke and a smile.
Sure.
We all know what these jingles and slogans mean. We can, Nike, just do it. And these slogans mean something. And in the political world, slogans mean something. And something just as simple that can also be very vague is like, it's the economy, stupid. There doesn't really tell you what he was going to do. You're not going to be able to explain a 4-year policy in 30 seconds. But you can point out, I'm concerned about this. I feel your pain. I agree with you. And I'm going to do something about it. That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to be success. I can't tell you what Harris' plan was.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jenny. And actually, you brought something up, and I wish I had brought this up on our last show that we did with the two guests that we had with the American Muckrakers. You're great. Those of us who remember just a couple months ago during the 2024 election, right around the end of September, 1st of October, those of us who live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm sure this is all around the country, we started to see these little signs. They were like 12 by 12 signs all up and down the roads that said Trump, low taxes, Harris, high taxes or whatever. Trump, secure border, Harris, very, very simple. And they were all around. And my first thought was, I was angry because they were smart enough to do that. But my second thought was, why didn't we do something like that? Why didn't we put Trump, felon, America, rule of law? Something very, very simple.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
And the simplicity of a message. And again, this is something that I taught when I taught sales training classes for people in resort sales and other things. Ways people got to believe two things to buy from you: that your product is real and that you're real. And candidates, it's incumbent upon them people got to believe in you a little bit. Sure. They got to believe that you got to be able to do the job. That's one of the reasons we pulled Biden off the stage. We felt like he's run his course. So Grandpa needs to go to the pasture. He's done. But the problem was that Harris came off too plastic banana. She stepped around every issue. She didn't want to get in any controversy. She didn't even seem like she didn't fight as hard in 2024 as she did as a vice presidential candidate in 2020. She mailed in the debate. Her debate was so milquetoast, and so she didn't do what she did to Pence. And Pence destroyed Pence. She absolutely destroyed Pence. And worse yet, her running mate was so agreeable with Vance and so weak and so malleable. I was like, call an ambulance. I think somebody stole Tim's spine. And does he even have a heartbeat? And he wasn't passionate. Like, he was on the campaign trail. He was calling them weirdos and creepy. And he was aggressive. And his keynote at the DNC was passionate and beautiful. And just the way he talked about his kids. And, how he defended LGBT rights when he was a coach and a teacher. And we heard none of that in that debate. We heard none of that debate. And Harris was worse. This passionate, sassy woman of color that we saw in 2020 that just did a rope-a-dope on a professional campaigner like Pence. Pence is a very good politician. He's very good at politics. She made him look like a first-timer. She kicked his ass in 2020. And then a half asleep, eyes closing the whole debate, Trump that looks like dead life should be falling off him. She did not hold her own. She got her ass whipped. That looked like he was half dead. He looked like he was falling asleep from cheeseburger overdose. Sure. And so I don't understand where she went to.
Sure. I agree with you. And it seems like, and I completely agree with you. And the reason I asked this question the way I asked you was because this is going to be, I think, a conversation that we're going to be having for the 2026 election, because they cannot run on the economy on 2020. I don't even think they can run on any of the top 22 issues that are important to people. They're going to be running on the transgender sports, women's sports issues. If Democrats take over, they're going to let women, transgender people, that's going to be the rhetoric. It's going to be the marriage equality rhetoric. It's going to be the pedophile rhetoric. It's going to be that rhetoric because they can't run on the economy. So if you're a Democrat who's thinking about running in 2026, expect to be ready how to answer this question. And as Jenny said, I think that's an excellent response is saying, the transgender issue of all the issues is number 22. It's interesting that you want to talk about this and that you're so obsessed with this issue, right? Is that like a way of kind of addressing someone who is concerned about that issue?
To me, if I was running for office, let's say I decided to run for Congress last year.
Sure.
And let's say I bump my head this summer and I go temporary and I decide to run for office. And I'm going to run for the district I live in. I don't even know which district I live in because they moved it so much. But let's say District 9, just for shits and giggles. And the two things I'm going to run on is I'm going to constantly point out the crazy shit my opponent is talking about. I am going to constantly make fun of the crazy shit they're talking about.
Sure.
And look in the camera and go, do you want that representing you? Don't worry about me. Worry about that. And then when I'm asked about issues, no matter what it is, I'm going to only talk about 2 or 3 things.
Yeah.
And they keep the answers really simple and direct and aggressive. And I think if people hear that over and over again, and you get those yard sides out early, you get the advertising, if you register, like you got to file that candidacy in December of 2025 for the 2026 season for federal elections.
Yep.
You need to start campaigning this fall. You need to start fucking running TV commercials. You need to start doing messaging. You need to start fundraising this year because it's not that you need to spend a lot of money. You need to be smart about it. You need to make sure that you help your primary opponent lose. You help make sure that you help support other candidates in the Republican primary win, and you damage their brand. You build up your brand, and then most of all, like those Trump signs that were really simple, they fucking work. They fucking work. And Democrats don't have to lie to win. They just need to make it real simple. Yeah. I'll put money in your, as a Democrat, as your representative, I'll put money in your pocket and I'll make things safer and saner again. That's it. That's the only 2 things I'm going to do when I get to DC is I'm going to put money in your back pocket and I'll make it safe and sane to be an American again. And that's it. That is all I'm going to talk about for 13 fucking months. And,
listen, if you like,
and that's it.
If you like what you hear from Jenny, she does have a show that comes on every Wednesday at 11:30. It's called Two Queers in a Truck. Please join her show and join all the Cannis media shows like the Tony Foreman Show that drops every Wednesday at 10 in the morning, and Espedeke, hosted by Llorense, that drops every Thursday at 7 p.m. in the evenings. We'll be right back on Coffee and Pan Dulce right after this.
Hey, thanks for listening to us as always on Coffee and Pan Dulce. And just to let you know, we're on all the audio podcast platforms. So work it out or whatever, you can just listen to us. Or if you want to see our bright, shiny faces, we're on YouTube and Facebook. You can even be fans and you can comment on our shows on the Facebook platform and drown out people who don't actually listen to the show but like to like us. But anyway, we appreciate y'all and very much, and keep on listening so that Christian and I are just not sitting here talking to ourselves. Have a great year.
Hey everybody, hope you're enjoying the Coffee and Pan Dulce Show. This is I, Llorense, one of the new hosts here at Cannis Media, doing a new show, Espedeke. Where here I am talking all the great issues that are happening in our great country here in the USA of 2025. I'm mostly going to be working and talking about Latino men issues, but I hope anyone can come by and hear me rant about how annoying our government is. We will be here every Thursdays at 7 p.m. Hope to hear from y'all soon, and see you at my show.
Up next is Two Queers in a Truck with Jenny and Christian. And hope you guys tune in. We'll see you in about 15 to 20 minutes. Thank you. Bye.
Welcome back, everyone. Don't forget to join those shows and like us. Share us with your family. Tell people about our shows and all that kind of stuff. All right. So here we go. Some Pendejo Chronicles.
And this is the Pendejo Chronicles.
Okay, the Pendejo of the week is JFK Jr. JFK Jr. has been.
You mean RFK Jr.
Oh, RFK Jr. I'm sorry.
JFK Jr.
Right.
Dead.
RFK Jr.
He died 20 years ago.
It's a different K. It's a different one of the Ks. Okay. RFK Jr. is the Fidel of the week. We give him the award because all of his rhetoric about vitamin A and cod liver oil has led to some poisoning of some young kids in Texas, and also the second death from the measles has occurred in Texas. And unfortunately, his misinformation is doing a lot of damage to those people who are not only skeptical about vaccines, but maybe have hesitation because they're hearing from experts that they trust or they should be trusting, and they're getting information that's not correct. So we do give him the Pendejo Award of the week. And then I want you to comment on that also. But let's go directly now into the Jenny Award.
And this is the Jenny Award.
Okay. The Jenny Award this week goes to John Oliver on his show. It was probably the segment he did about transgender in sports, transgender athletes, or the issue. It's not really an issue. The topic of the transgender things that the MAGAs are talking about was very well done. It was Rachel Maddow-ish. When I say that, as if the way they pulled it step by step, and it was easy to understand, even if you were whatever side of the fence you are on that issue, it was easy to understand. It was humorous in a ways, how it kind of threw things out there. I did not know that this spokesperson that went on stage had gotten 5th place. This entire time, I got the impression that that a gold medal had been taken away from her. You know, in that aspect, I did not realize that. I did not know that the young lady from North Carolina that's been going around saying that she had a severe concussion because of the volleyball spike to her head, immediately after played softball as well. So it couldn't have been that bad of a concussion. You know, so these are things I think that we have to do to educate people, because if you are not engaged in it, you just take it kind of like face value. So I don't know, Jenny, do you have any comments on any of those 2 awards?
Well, my comment will have to do with both. In real succinctly, there's more kids in Texas that got the measles this year than there are trans athletes in college sports.
Yeah.
Think about that, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
In 2025, when the measles was practically eradicated when I was young, we now have brought measles back.
Yeah.
And still less than 10 transgender athletes in all of college sports, all 3 major levels, Division 1, 2, and 3, all that stuff. Out of probably hundreds of thousands of athletes, there's less than 9 transgender women playing sports of any kind, golf, tennis, whatever. It is so rare. You got a better chance of winning the lottery or getting hit by lightning than seeing a transgender athlete play college sports in the United States. That's how, because we're rare. We're not even a quarter of 1%. So it's a much ado about nothing. And John Oliver pointed that out. And again, they pluck out these outliers, these weirdos, like the one that tied for 5th with Leah Thomas.
Yeah.
I'm not going to even name her. I don't want to give her any fame. But she's an absolute piece of shit, garbage human being. Who's cried about getting tied for 5th. Mm-hmm. So let's say Leah Thomas didn't even swim in that meet. She still would have finished 5th. She was still she was a 4th place loser. She was still 4 spots behind the gold medal winner. Leah Thomas didn't medal either. As much as we said how amazing she was, she still is a senior, her last year to be able to perform. Still only tied for 5th on the national level, which there's only medals for the first 3, folks.
Yeah.
And tell me who the silver medal or the bronze medalist was in any Olympic Games last year in 2024. Tell me anyone. Name me a silver medalist in the 100 meters. Oh, you probably can't remember the gold medalist.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. I can't tell you who won a gold medal in any swimming event, in any national championship in the last 100 years. I can't even think of one off the top of my head. And this is the reality is we're making a lot of this sound like that maybe there's one trans girl that plays golf for Dayton University in Ohio or something, and she won one tournament. You know, is that if they're dominating sports, we would have heard about it. Name the athletes that are winning anything. And when we ask them that, they can't name anybody like Tommy Tuberville did in Alabama.
Here's the question I have, and I know we're out of time here, and I'm going to go over just a couple of minutes because I have this question. Every election cycle, there's the boogeyman. You and I talk about this. It was the gays, it was the immigrants, or the documented people. It was the drag queens. Remember in 2020s, in 2022, 2024 is the drag queens. It was the books, the drag queens reading the books. So they've every time the far right or the MAGA group fail, all of their moms for liberty people run on certain things and then they get beat and they have to go to a next message. The trans sports issue is the current message.
Right.
The reason we have to talk about it, I think, like we did those issues, is to get it out there so it becomes a non-issue by the time we get to 2026. If we don't talk about it, it's still a mystery, up until 2026. I think they're going to I hope they peak early with this issue, because as we've seen the data of 22 issues or topics, it's the very, very last one that people are concerned about.
Well, and the only reason it cracked the top 22 is because Republicans talk about it every day.
Exactly. Good point. Yeah.
It wouldn't even crack the top 22. It wouldn't even crack the top 30.
Sure.
People would be more worried about the fairness of NASCAR as a political message and then transgender rights. Nobody.
Who's going to be the next quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys?
Nobody. Well, if Dallas still had a team, but nobody cares about the transgender population, and I'm not saying it in a bad way.
Sure,
but we're such a small minority in the world and in the American population. The only reason people even think about us or even care, because I'll use I can sum this up fast. My wife and I are both queer. We walked around holding hands in a small resort town called Charleston, South Carolina over this last weekend. Or 2 weekends ago. And by the time that you're seeing this, and it's fairly moderate. It's not the most progressive place. It's not the most conservative place. Small resort, beachside town. We're in the downtown area that was a little bit more bougie. And I'm telling you, not one person was. In fact, we had somebody. I had my arm wrapped around her. We were walking down one of the major avenues, and there's one lady, conservatively dressed, looked at us and said, "Love is love, and it's beautiful."
Oh,
we got treated like royals. People, we never received any hate. Most people don't care, and I'm very obviously genderqueer. If you're not watching the video of this and you're seeing this, obviously I've got a deep voice. Obviously, I'm not the most feminine person in the world. Or if you look at my pictures, you can see my genderqueerness, and I'm good with it because I'm at peace with both my sharp edges and my femininity. But we were treated. We didn't receive one hateful, cross-eyed look of any kind in any way. We were treated like guests. We were treated like royals. The people at the hotel we stayed at were amazing. The people at Enterprise Rental Car here locally were amazing. There was no animosity. The restaurants we dined at, there were nice restaurants. We were taken care of. We weren't seated in the back alley or anything like that. Yeah. We got the tables we wanted, the times we wanted. There was zero, because nobody cares. Nobody cares that we're trans. Everyday people don't care about that. They want to know, how am I going to put food on the table? How am I going to pay for medical insurance? How am I going to do the things? And Democrats got to decide what is the most best thing for our neighbors.
Sure.
And then pick that path and pick that struggle and defend Americans. real working Americans. That's the most patriotic thing we can do is support each other.
Yeah.
Love thy neighbor.
Good point. Good point. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Jenny. Well, listen, we run out of time, and I'm sorry that our special guest was not able to join us. I'm sure he'll join us on one of our next shows. We do want to thank everyone who watches us, and our last show, as Jenny said, hey, Jenny, do it one more time.
We got guns that look like knives. We got knives that look like guns. Sunday, the fifth Wednesday of the month, free of charge.
Sunday. You got to go up and forth to the camera. Sunday. It's like
next week. I go full on radio announcement.
That's right.
Both barrels of gin come back out, and we'll go nuts.
That's right. Our last show of the month is going to drop on April the 30th, and the title of that show is Rest in Peace, Tesla. We will talk about the downfall of the Tesla automotive car company. Or is it the downfall? All right. So we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Jenny, for carrying the show. Talk to you next week. Bye, y'all.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching Coffee Pan Dulce, as always. And we appreciate you guys. Be safe out there. It's the pollen season. It's going to get a little warmer. A lot of y'all are going to be traveling this time of year because everything, all the festivities going on. We got Mother's Day coming up pretty soon. Hopefully we'll have a special interview about that. But so much more. And most of all, love thy neighbor. See y'all next week.
Bye, y'all.
Hey, y'all. Thanks as always for listening to Coffee and Pan Dulce. And guess what? As part of our Cannis Media family of shows, we have a sister show that's been running alongside the Coffee Show for 6 years, 6 seasons. And it's Two Queers in a Truck. And in fact, we've been on air, as it says right behind Christian, as we record this, in case you're watching the video version of this. It's exciting. It's a little different. It comes more from, obviously, the queer perspective because it's Two Queers in a Truck. And we invite you to listen to it. You don't have to be queer to listen. And I promise it most likely will not give you scabies. I can't 100% verify that, but it's just a medical rumor started by me, actually. But anyway, come out and check us out on our sister show, Two Queers in a Truck, and all the exciting 2025 news shows on the Cannis Media family. As always, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Next up, thanks for watching Coffee and Pan Dulce. Next up is Two Queers in a Truck. Stay tuned.
Coffee and Pan Dulce. How's that? Coffee and Pan Dulce.
Sounds great.
You sounded like a telenova. I mean,
I'm trying to. All I have to say is go. Yes.
As a non-Spanish speaker.
Okay, looks like he's not. I haven't gotten a reply back. Okay, so we'll just ask about moderates, in general. All right, here we go. All right, we only got 3 minutes left, so we'll talk about Pendejo Chronicles and the Jenny Award.
Okay.
Here we go.
Coffee and Pan Dulce. How's that? Coffee and Pan Dulce.